Welcome back to this business portal for this segment on trends analysis. This is your host, Tony Casino. And for this edition, our topic will be on the trends in broadcasting from analog to digital. Little do people know that for the longest time, our broadcasting network has been done through analog. Now there's this new trend going towards digital, and we have guests from the Institute of Electronics and Communications Engineering of the Philippines. He's the Vice President for External Affairs, none other than Melvin Acosta. And with him is the consultant and with the Association of Radio and Industries Business, Mr. James Santiago. Welcome to our show, Melvin and James. All right, real quick background. What's this trend about moving from analog to digital?
As you know, people are more demanding now because of the advent of DVD. So
Yeah.
the quality of the picture is supposed to be much better than the rest of TV.
Yeah.
But it is not. The quality of the TV broadcast today is comparative to VHS. So the digital TV promises a quality of picture similar to what you're watching in TV. So
Okay.
therefore, since the one is moving there, despite comparing it, it's inevitable that we go digital.
Okay. How did you two get together? Give me a quick
Okay.
background. You're with the Association of Radio Industries and Business. You said you are based in Japan.
Well, the organization is based in Japan,
Mhm.
Tokyo, but we do a lot of promotions about digital television around the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I chose to be based in the Philippines. I think I would be more efficient to be here rather than elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I do a lot of seminars and training. I hold such in various countries.
Okay. And you were saying, Melvin.
I had a training in France on digital TV.
Uh-huh.
Then I was chairman of subcommittee on digital TV and technical working group of NTC.
Okay.
And I was really guessing and I used to have been doing regional. And presently, I'm transmission specialist in operators, the head of our operations.
Okay.
And we are both a member of the technical working group of NTC on digital terrestrial television.
Okay.
And we are good friends. I said we were.
He used to be president of the Society of Broadcast Engineers of the Philippines.
Okay.
And then I took over after 2 terms after his.
I see.
We teach in Mapua, we worked in the broadcast industry for so long.
Yeah.
A lot of common.
Right. But your familiarity with broadcast technology then was purely analog.
Yes.
Okay. And a lot of the installed broadcasting network, whether both radio and television, are still using analog.
Yes.
Okay. Isn't analog more affordable than digital?
That's not entirely true, actually. Well, analog is a technology that has been there since the 50s. It's long overdue that it should be replaced for better service to the people. Now, regardless of having analog equipment, it's actually the transmission who remains to be analog. Most of the networks are purchasing digital equipment. So it's not really true that it's expensive to go to digital. In fact, it's even cheaper to have your operations in digital because of the power consumption
see.
and better quality.
Okay. How different is analog technology to digital?
Well, we can say that there are a lot of differences between analog and digital. First and foremost is the quality. It's more than about digital has a crisper video as well as audio, which you could broadcast more than stereo. When you broadcast in 5.1 mode, we call it 5.1 mode. At the same time,
Unlike analog, which
is
broadcast from
maximum on in stereo, TV in stereo. You can have 5 channels in digital TV. Another advantage of digital TV is given the same channel, one channel for analog, it can accommodate on the DVB-T and ISDVT 3 to 4 programs.
What are these DVDT?
This is the standard. DVB-T is the European standard, although ISDVT is the Japanese standard. Although DVB-T does not want to admit that this is European because it's a general standard as well. And the greatest contribution of digital in the spectrum conservation is that for only one analog channel, they can put in 3 to 4 programs
At the same time,
At the same time.
Yes.
with a single facility.
Very single
3
facility.
to 4 programs only,
That's right.
other analog.
For digital.
For digital.
Analog only one, but the same 6 megahertz channel.
Right.
You can have one
One.
analog, but in digital you can have as much as 3 to 4 standard definition or one high definition. Or James will explain in Japanese it is some variations like the TVPT, which is the European. In Japanese is also some variation on 6 megahertz.
Okay.
So in the ISDBT standard,
ISDBT is
The Japanese
the Japanese, whereas
yes.
DVD,
TVPT is a European.
European, all right.
the innovations in ISDBT is that aside from the regular TV reception, they have introduced rich text contents and also the feature of emergency warning broadcast. So you deliver all of this information all at the same time using a single facility. In addition to that, it also provides the opportunity for people on the go to be able to enjoy their favorite TV programs. In analog, that is not part of the initial intention of the analog standard. If you want to watch TV, you have to stay put. Go home, watch TV.
Yeah.
That's why people find it hard to understand that when they're riding a bus or any car and they're trying to watch analog TV, they cannot get stable reception
Correct.
because it was never meant to be.
I
In
see.
digital, whether you're walking,
Or you're
driving,
running,
traveling,
or
in
flying.
digital TV, well, flying, I think you cannot get the signal because this is terrestrial signal.
It's up there, there's no more.
Okay, but
focus.
on land you can.
Yes.
While you're in a moving vehicle, you
Yes,
can.
Yes.
I tried it. In Shinkansen, running around 300 kilometers per hour, I can watch TV. And I tried in SE-TEX, driving around 120 kilometers per hour, I can watch stable picture, no
Wow.
interruption.
Yeah. In addition to what James was saying. In fact, if you are watching digital TV on board the car,
Yeah.
you watch as if a DVD. Quality. There is
Really?
no shaking, there is
Okay.
no video. So you say there's no video drop or audio drop. At the same time, one of the advantages of digital TV is that the quality of the signal in the coverage is the same. Whether you live near the transmitter, you're far in the transmitter, the quality remains the same. There is no degradation.
In analog, the closer you are to the transmitter,
Of course,
the better picture quality.
Right.
When you go farther away,
Yeah, it fizzles out.
yeah, so, but there will come a point, this is called the cliff effect, where after that, when you reach that point, you no longer receive signal, it will freeze, the video will freeze. But from the point of the transmitter up to the edge of the coverage, the quality remains the same. That's why the coverage is very predictable.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
another advantage of digital TV, which cannot be done at all in analog, is that you can make use of single frequency. For many transmitters beside each other, for example, channel 24, for example, no? You can have channel 24 besides other, but they will not interfere. You cannot do that in analog because
Because when there's
always,
interception.
they will mix up, they will
Right,
interfere. You cannot even assign analog channels side by side. You cannot assign 7, 8, 9.
Okay.
You have 7 and 9. No, 4 and 5, you can assign 4 and 5 because there is a
Space.
gap, spacing, intentional gap of, we call it 4
Four
megahertz. But for digital, you can put them on the same frequency for the same network. You can, on the other network, you can put them side by side. So you have a lot of,
You can split them.
you can have a lot of frequency conservation.
Wow.
Spectrum, but remember, spectrum is very, it's a prime property.
Wow.
As we may call it, prime property.
Right.
Spectrum
By
is
the
very
franchise
expensive.
holders.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's very, very expensive. So
Ah.
one of the benefits of digital TV is that the regulators will have more options to provide for the players.
Okay, let's go to that spectrum ownership. That's provided by Congress, isn't it?
Congressional franchise,
Congressional
legal to
franchise.
broadcast.
So they give each of these networks, regardless of who they are, when Congress grants them a franchise of the spectrum, that is their sole property.
No. It's being
Leased?
leased by, or not really leased, but the government is allowing them the utilization of such frequency. But
Okay.
it's a regulated industry
Right.
that I think the government can seize the
Yeah.
permit anytime they want if there's of course a
Any violation,
yeah.
correct, correct. Now, you're saying earlier, Melvin, that from that single spectrum, that network can have multiple channels
Yes, yes.
through this digital broadcasting
Yes,
technology.
single channel, single analog channel can have as much, today there is a technology which is called DVB-T2. You can have as much as 12 to 16 standard definition television in a 6 to 7 megahertz channel.
Okay.
And you can have as much as 3 to 4 high definition that would give way to 3D TV, three-dimensional television.
Okay.
So that is the technology right now. And as I was telling you, it is an advantage. There is a available spectrum right away for those who would like to be in the broadcast, one of the players in the broadcast.
Okay. You said earlier there are two standards, the European and the Japanese,
Actually, there are four basically.
Yeah, there's four.
in the world today.
And what we were telling you are the more popular ones here in the Asian Pacific region. Because can you, James, will explain you some of the common.
Yeah.
Well, basically, in 2004 when we started the preparation of digital television for the Philippines,
Yeah.
at that time the contemplation was between the American standard and the European standard.
Okay.
During that time, the Japanese standard was not available for international utilization. Until such time that the Japanese technology has matured and has been utilized in other countries, we were told by the NTC, maybe it's time for us to take a second look at the Japanese standard. Maybe there's something in it that might benefit our country.
Okay.
Which led to the June 11, 2010 unanimous decision by all the broadcasters, industry stakeholders in the NTC to adopt the Japanese standard.
In the Philippines?
Yes, for the
Okay.
Philippines.
Okay, why was
And
that?
one of the
Yeah.
June 11, 2010.
Yeah.
So one of the key features there is the emergency warning broadcast feature.
Okay.
And
Explain.
it is beyond the dispute that, of course, everybody agrees that we need that type of alert.
What is this emergency?
There's a
What do you call it? Emergency?
emergency warning broadcast
Emergency warning
system.
broadcast
Yes.
system. Okay.
It is a technology that is embedded in the same broadcast transmission wherein receivers at home will be able to immediately display the warning information. So the difference of a few seconds only. And I used to tell the people whenever I do a seminar, if I give you 5 minutes of time for you, an opportunity for you to save your life, will that be a good opportunity for you? And everybody says yes, because 5 minutes of continuous running, example, there's a tsunami coming in. I tell you 5 minutes, the tsunami is coming in. If you run really fast,
Yeah.
you can find shelter or go to an elevated place.
Right.
At least the government has given you a fighting chance to
Yes,
save your life,
survive.
rather than just accept your fate and die.
All right.
That is something that really took attention of the broadcaster and the NTC. And aside from the emergency warning broadcast feature, it has also the feature of automatic activation. Disasters happen when people least expect it.
There's
Sleeping.
sleep, yeah.
The TV will turn on automatically. So it will wake you up like an
Okay.
alarm.
The Kobe earthquake in 95 or 94 happened in early dawn, about
Yeah.
5 a.m. or 5:45 or 6 a.m. And it was quite devastating. What the result was. Was there something that was the digital technology available at the time?
No, not yet. But
Okay.
during the COVID quake, at least 65,000 people died.
Yeah.
And the Japanese scientists decided that this cannot happen again. And during the Fukushima quake,
Right.
well, it's not the earthquake that killed people, it's the tsunami.
Mm-hmm.
I think 3 minutes before the earthquake, in Japan they have this technology to detect the earthquake. So 3 minutes before, an alarm was given, and then I think around 10 to 15 minutes before the actual impact of the wave on Fukushima, people have already taken shelter. And they're pretty organized.
Yeah.
So that's why if
So
we compare...
how many deaths they had the one in Fukushima? About
Uh,
20,000?
yeah.
Yeah, compared to 65,000 in
Yes,
COVID.
yes.
I mean, it's still substantially lower.
Yes, in Kobe it's only earthquake, but in Fukushima it's earthquake and tsunami.
Right, right.
And in magnitude of the quake, it's even bigger recently.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's really amazing. And we get hit with typhoon, floods,
I know.
earthquake, and recently there's this activity in Taal.
How does this thing work? I mean, this emergency warning system. I mean, is it like the network or the government can take charge of all broadcasting stations and air this warning?
No, no.
But before you say that, we'll pause for a break. You're tuning in here on the Biz Portal. This is your host for this segment on President Casino. And our topic for this edition is on the trends in broadcasting from analog to digital. And with us is the Vice President for External Affairs of the Institute on Electronics and Communication Engineering of the Philippines, Mr. Melvin Acosta. And with him is the Vice President of the Association of Radio Industries and Business in Japan, Mr. James Santiago. Do stay tuned for more information. Okay. We're back here in the Business Portal on this segment on Trends Analysis, your host, Dorica Senior. And for this edition, our topic is on the trends in broadcasting from analog and digital. And with us are our guests from the Institute of Electronics and Communication Engineering of the Philippines, none other than the Vice President for External Affairs, Engineer Melvin Acosta. And with him is the Vice President of the Association of Radio Industries and Business in Japan, none other than Engineer James Santiago. So James, you were saying earlier that there's this emergency warning system in Japan. How does this work?
Well, basically all the facilities of the government that detects weather changes, tectonic activity, even tidal activities are integrated into a central point. In our case, we have Billbox, Pagasa, NDCC, and the other agencies.
Right.
All of those information converge in one point, which in our case, it's NDCC.
The
or
National
ND
Disaster
Risk Reduction
right.
Management.
NDRR.
MC, yes.
Right.
So it's basically just a simple link from that agency to the broadcasting network. It's not even expensive, it's just a regular internet connection. So it's feeding the information to the broadcaster, and if a flag appears there that this one is like maybe signal number 1, number 2, number 3, there's a feature of automatically transmitting the information to the people without disrupting the existing program.
Okay.
So you will have a flashing alert on your TV receiver or your mobile phone, and people have the option to check what's this alert about. So you can take action.
That's very crucial in a country like ours, with 7,000 islands in our archipelago, and we're vulnerable for any typhoon, with about 20 plus typhoons in a given year. How does this work? Does digital broadcasting work? Engineer Melvin.
Actually, digital broadcasting is different from analog. It is not an improvement
It's entirely separate.
technology-wise.
Okay.
It is not an improvement of an analog. The tool has been existing since 1960s.
Okay.
But the hardware, the electronic hardware, were not sufficient to process that particular, for example, compression technology, the CFD, and some technical CFD technology cannot be done could not be done then because there was no hardware, but the theories were there already. But in the 1990s, they were able to come up, early 90s, to come up with the standards in Europe and also in America simultaneously. Then